Hi everybody, this is TJ with Netpicks and the Spotlight Power Trader. Thought I'd do a short little walkthrough video today. It's been a very interesting week, very productive, kind of slower than usual. At least from our day trading point of view, volatility has slowed down a bit. You don't see the crazy, tons of bars. In fact, if you look at today's trading on the Dowie Mini, you would think that it was back to the old slow days, but this is still a 12-point momentum bar. If you'll remember, at the beginning of February, we doubled it. It was a 6-point momentum bar, so that illustrates how slow it really was before the volatility hit the market in early February. So I thought I would just walk through my trades today. I had a really interesting session. Let's start with the Dowie Mini, which had another winning session. It's won 37 out of the last 40 sessions. Like 3 losing sessions since the middle of March, something like that. So obviously we're waiting for 8:30, and it actually happened here. Let's just go back a second. Look at this is at 8:09, and there was literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bars before the first trade, which was actually 4 minutes after our start time. And it was a nice trade because it was breaking out to a new swing high. And, first trade, no reason to question it. Remember, it's just 137 of the last 40 sessions or whatever. So that's the first trade. It's a yellow trade. And it takes its time, but it meanders on up, hits money management, the stop moves up, and it hits its target 2, which is our objective for power of quitting, and then stops out, and that's it. So from 8:34 to that second position, stopping out with the trailer, roughly around 8:49, 15 minutes. There are other times when that might take literally 1 or 3 minutes, but today it was 15. But you know what the problem was for me? The problem was that I woke up in the middle of the night last night at like 2 in the morning. I guess my cats decided to race each other up and down the hallway at full speed and beat each other up and what have you. And I keep threatening them I'm going to make a purse out of them if they don't cool it when I'm sleeping. But they just look at me. And anyway, they called my bluff and woke me up. And I wasn't able to go back to sleep until, 4:30 in the morning. So I slept through my session. I felt it was more important just to sleep. I turned the alarm off, and by the time I woke up, it was too late. And I came and I looked, it figures, obviously. It keeps winning regardless, but I missed it. But I wasn't done trading. I've got a few tricks up my sleeve. If you've known me this long now, you know that I look for some trades of opportunity when I need to, and one of those is the trade I ended up taking, and I'll show it to you. I came in and saw this and everything was up, the market's gapped up, and I'm thinking, boy, this could be a trend day, and I was starting to think maybe reversals aren't really going to work very well for me because if it's an up day and I already missed my trade plan trade, I really wanted to make sure I was going to choose trades with the highest odds, right? We talk about this in the trade room. So let me just show you something. When I look back here, I came in right around when this trade was finishing, and one thing that caught my mind was that there had already been numerous reversal attempts. It was before our start time, but the first one was here, and then there was another one here, and then another one here. Didn't trigger in. It's still a setup, which I count. So that's 3 reversal setups. I don't care about whether it's, they're triggering in and losing. None of them were trade plan trades anyway, but now I'm looking for a trade of opportunity. And one of the things I've learned is by the time you get to that 4th reversal right here, the odds are very good that that trade is going to win. It doesn't mean it's 100%, but it's pretty strong. And even stronger if you're really afraid it's a strong trend day or time of the day when the trend may continue, you can look at the S&P, the NQ, the Russell, see what they're doing. At the time, they were trying to push lower. Some mixed signals. I forget which one was still going up. Maybe it was the NQ. I don't remember. But anyway, I didn't jump in right here. What I wanted to see was some sort of a test of this top swing level. And then if it failed and came back down, my plan was to get in sync with this trade and then take it. I was looking for extra confirmation. Remember, my trade plan finished The train left the station without me. I still needed to get my trades in, and now I'm looking for trades of opportunity. Using the spotlight, this is a way that I do it. On a reversal trade, I'm looking to see that numerous trades have failed. I'm looking to see that the swings going up begins to wane. So when there's a strong move up here, and then not a very strong move up here that makes for a new high and then fails, one of the things I know is that it could be a failed attempt to get higher. A breakout over resistance that fails could lead to a strong move in the opposite direction. You've often heard me say a false breakout one way leads to a strong move in the other, but I wanted to make sure, so I could have missed it here. I mean, this could have went straight down. I would have missed my chance. But remember, I'm now looking for a trade of opportunity, and I have all session to do it. So I'm waiting for my best setup. I'm being patient. And so when I saw the price come back up and try to get higher and was unable to, at this point, I'm starting to place a trade, and I'm getting in, which I did right in this area. I forget which one of these bars, but I did get in. I filled my order, and I went short. And that was my first trade of the day, and it did come down and hit target 1. My stop moved down. I locked in my 1 tick. See, my idea is even if it finds resistance at some sort of fib retracement, 1 or 2/3 below or halfway down from this strong move up, I think the odds of getting to money management at least are pretty good. So my main goal was try to get to a risk-free position and then see what happens from there. Could have taken profit at target 1. I mean, that was 21 ticks, but I was going for a target 2 and hopefully even something further. So instead, it did come up and stop me out for a break-even trade. So that was my first trade today. Trade plan was a full winner. My first trade, a break-even trade. So I was still looking for another trade. So at this point, of course, I've got my eye on my handy-dandy SubZero strategy. If you're not familiar with SubZero, I've taught members of the Inner Circle and Spotlight Power Trader how to use it manually, and you could go see the replay videos. The good news is that the calculator is almost ready. Hopefully by the end of this month, we will have this available for you. I do have a beta version of the calculator, so I'll show you the next trade that I took. So I was sticking with the Dowie Mini. The Dowie Mini has been very good to me, and I'm a guy that is simply, if it's not broke, I don't try to fix it. I just stay with the winning horse. And while I do trade other markets, I was focused on this chart today. I had a lot on my agenda, and I needed to get my trading done, and I needed to hit my goals. So I'm looking at this Spotlight trade. This is Spotlight Power Trader, SubZero. This is a SubZero setup. It's only one setup, nothing else. It's very easy. This is a trade of opportunity. When it happens, the odds are very good it's going to win. This is all prior to the session starting. And then this long trade coincidentally actually corresponded with the yellow trade. So that trade was over. What I found, if the SubZero trade ends up being the same trade as the regular Spotlight trade, then the odds are even better. Okay, but that was the first trade of the day. The short that I took somewhere in here, you could see no setup for SubZero. It's not a SubZero setup, but this one was. And this was the trade I ended up taking. And I got on. I like to mark my money management level with my horizontal line so I could easily see it. I set an alarm. When it hits it, it lets me know. And it came up and it hit there, and I'm instantly moving my stop up. If I get 2 break-even trades, I'm probably just going to quit for the day, but I am trying to get to my target 2 and beyond. And it ground, it was a grinder, but it was a straightforward trade. I mean, this went from 926 by the time it hit target 2, only 10 minutes. Not too bad. It's pretty quick, actually, for a slow day. And that's a full target 2 winner for 38 points, right, per contract, and then trailing the rest. So I'll usually take profit at target 3 or target 4. In this case, I took profit at target 3 just because it was such a slow day, and it hit it right on the nail, but then it came up and actually hit target 4 as well, and it was a beautiful trade. So those were the 2 trades that I took today. It was a very successful session, and I was relying on my trade of opportunity techniques, looking for the highest percentage setup, really thinking it through using the Spotlight setup, but then asking a little additional stuff, asking for a little more confirmation. So the SubZero does that automatically, but the other trade I took was a pure spotlight trade, spotlight power trader trade. But I was, I told you how I was going for that fourth reversal and looking for some extra confirmation when it failed to break out to a new high. So those were my trades today, very successful, and I wanted to kind of give you the contents of my mind, let you know how I was thinking through everything, to just give you a glimpse on how I approach my trading, and hopefully that will help you when you're thinking through your trading. I'm not just shooting from the hip, taking any old trade randomly. I'm either sticking with my tried and true formal trade plan, the trade of which I missed this morning for reasons I explained, and if not that, or even in addition to that, I will look for certain trades of opportunity that give me a high percentage chance for success. Some of them are spotlight trades, and others might be SubZero. SubZero is a fabulous new approach to the spotlight. Let's take a look at a few more trades, and then we'll finish this video. So this is back to our regular spotlight power trader, and crude oil has been very active ever since the June contract has been wonderful. It has not even had a losing session since we started trading it on April 18th, and now we're on May 10th. Not a single losing session, usually finished very quickly, starting at 9 o'clock with the 5-cent momentum bar. So just look what happened. We're waiting for our 9 o'clock start time, and that happens here. There at 12 minutes past. And, you got to like what's going on with the moving average crossing over and accelerating away from the 200. That implies a momentum breaking lower. You make a 1-tick adjustment below the swing level there. So instead of getting short at 71.19, get short at 71.18, right? That's all standard stuff. If you're not doing it, well, I'll keep pointing it out to you so that you learn. So anyway, this is what happened. Now, I was sleeping through this. I did not trade this, but this is a very successful and popular trade plan. And again, it has not had a losing session since the June contract began. All right, so look, money management comes on down, locks it in, pushes down past target 2, which incidentally was good for 16 cents, $160 a contract, and then comes up and stops out. I mean, almost perfect target 2, couple ticks past. Beautiful trade. All right, well, what if you missed the crude oil trade? I mean, like me, you wanted to trade crude. Maybe you missed your entry. Well, at that point, you can kind of use some of the techniques that I talked about with Spotlight, or if you're learning the SubZero, you could simply use a SubZero technique or wait for the SubZero calculator and indicator set to be ready. Like I said, you're all going to get it if you have Spotlight already. So this is how SubZero would have handled it, looking for that trade of opportunity. Once you miss your formal trade plan trade, it's not trying to catch every move, right? It's waiting for the SubZero scenario. And it doesn't happen for a while, but when it does, it's a very good setup. And it finally gets to SubZero, and then we get the short right there. So there it is. It took till 11:34 in the morning. Again, the random single trade of opportunity, and it gets short, comes down, just barely misses. Money management. Remember, if you have a losing trade, you're able to take one trade in the opposite direction with the SubZero setup. And quite often you cut the loss by a certain percentage, maybe half, maybe a third, somewhere, maybe 2/3, whatever, and then you get on the winning trade, because that second trade in the opposite direction is a real high percentage if the first trade fails. Well, in this case, it looks like you might have to stop and reverse, but you're going to adjust it a little bit. You put a couple ticks on top of that. Notice that it stabs right up and then doesn't go any higher. So we're still short. If it gets up above that, yeah, you're going to have to get long. And it doesn't. You see that? It heads lower. So you want to still stay short. That whole theory, protect the trade you're in, respect the fact the market could be turning, and get ready to flip over. In this case, it comes down, hits target 1. Now, ignore the colors, because really you need it to just be red. You have to know that you're short. The calculator doesn't know that. You're moving your stop down, you're starting to trail the balance line, and then it pushes through. almost hits a perfect target 2, and then does, and actually pushes all the way down to a perfect target 3. Okay, that's SubZero. That's how you use it. Might take you a little practice to learn some of our techniques, but that's the way it should be done. Quick look at the Russell E-mini. Remember, if you've been following me, you know that March and April are always difficult. I'm not really interested in the Russell until we get into that second week of May, which we're kind of there. Second week, third week. So the Russell's starting to get effective. You can see the first trade of the day right here at 1599.2, pushing all the way up, hitting a perfect target 2. One and done session on the Russell today. Yesterday was one and done as well. And that trade lined up with the SubZero setup as well. And again, when that SubZero lines up with the regular spotlight trade, the odds are exceptionally good. Maybe that's part of the reason that was such a straightforward trade. But now let's say you missed it or you're looking for another trade of opportunity. What happens with SubZero? Possible short, doesn't trigger in. Instead, the long does. Gets long, makes a new high, hits money management, and look at that. SubZero. Gotta love it. Forex was fabulous today as well. Typically is. Sometimes it's a little slow, but with momentum bars, you're always catching the moves because that's what pushes those bars, right? So right at 8:30 US session, really small trade. You ignore target 1's only 5 pips, but you're able to take target 2, which is 11 pips, and then 16, and then 21 pips, and a really nice trailer, and the pound Aussie. One and done. And a quick look at the Euro Yen. It's been kind of slow, but today was, quite busy. First trade right there, 8:33. Again, target 1, well, that was big enough, 11 pips. And then target 2, good for 18 pips. Didn't quite get to target 3. And if that wasn't enough, even though we're done here, really nice V-shaped top and a great trade down as well. Now, SubZero works really well with Forex. On the pound Aussie, there was a SubZero trade, but it set up a little early at 8:06. It doesn't bother me if you trade this at different times. Such an effective setup. You could see that one really nice. And maybe you want some extra juice. Maybe you're using the pound Aussie and the Euro Yen spotlight, and you want to maybe try trading some other pairs as well, but you don't really have a tested trade plan. Well, open up your usual suspects. Euro US, pound US, Aussie Yen, US Swiss, who knows what else, and look for SubZero trades. Just a quick look at the pound US, for example. Remember 8:30, or maybe you're starting sooner, I don't know. Here's a trade that just didn't go far enough. It ends up stopping and reversing. Remember, you could take one trade in the opposite direction for a nice winner. Same thing happened here. It got long. This one fails. You could take one trade in the opposite direction. That second trade usually really good, as you can see. Perfect target 2. That was 17 pips down. So, maybe you're not positive here, but when you have a real high percentage second trade in a losing trade where you cut the loss smaller, this probably would have been pretty close to almost a full loss after adjusting. But still, you can see now maybe you need more, though, because you still might be trying to get positive. The small little trade here, I don't know if I'm taking a trade where the fourth target's only 11 pips. I mean, I guess you could. Looks like it's going to stop out, so you could take one trade in the opposite direction. And that one does pretty good, see? Pretty close to target 3. So even if you get that loss, you get that second trade. This trade took 2 trades per each of the sequences, this chart. So maybe you still need another one. Let's see if there's some more SubZeros that come later. No, maybe not. Nope, there's one. So that one comes, almost gets to a full target 2. And there's a nice SubZero that comes. Okay, that's in the afternoon, not usually when I'm trading, but, SubZero is so reliable. If you want to trade in the afternoon, SubZero would probably give you your best chances. All right, this is a long video. I just wanted to show you a variety of things. Lots of ways to use a spotlight. The important thing is you want to stick to your discipline, stick to your trade plan rules. If you're going to take random trades of opportunity, you might want to think through what that actually means, what the consequences could be, and then learn how to, focus on the ones with the highest percentage chance of winning. And SubZero definitely fits that bill. All right, thanks for joining me, guys. I'll see you on the next video. This is TJ for the Spotlight Power Trader. I'll see you next time.